this is a needle pusher, this is your comb. So the first one's a comb cast on, the needle pusher on the flat edge, and it's got a ruler on it, but on the flat edge, you push out like this. On this edge, it's for pushing every other one. So what I want to begin with is every other one forward, every other one out of working. So I have every other one of my square pushed forward, the other ones all the way back. When I slide this across with no yarn in it, it's gonna put them all into working. This is how I'm gonna do there's 2 passes. The first pass, I'm using half the needles. Second pass is all of the needles that are in whatever, it doesn't matter how many you push forward. So I'm gonna put this in, close it. I'm actually gonna have to hold this until it catches. So, because otherwise, if it's weighted with a clothespin, you're good, but otherwise it'll fly up through here. So I'm gonna pass over it just on every other one. It should look like that. That's not knit yet. It's just literally a line that's going, these are called gate posts. So it's going around the gate post and on the needles. And then you can put your comb on. And what you wanna do on the comb is make sure it's centered. You don't want it like this or it's gonna pull. So you want it centered and you wanna kind of pull this out. It's better to do it, sometimes you need to do it this way when you're putting it up. We'll talk about that later. Right now it's kind of better to do it this way so you don't catch on the hooks of the comb. And all you do is just hang this on there and then take your claw weights and put your claw weights evenly like this. See, these things get mangled and then they don't catch on there. It's really annoying. But put it under where your knitting is, not on the edges. It doesn't really matter, but what you need is for it to be weighted on the edges of your knitting. So you can put them on the comb until your knitting gets big enough, and then you can take the comb off and you'll put them on the knitting itself. There are lace weights for if you're using really, really fine yarn. These could be too heavy, so there's other like lighter weights that you can, that are just metal that don't have the big weight in them. But for now, these will work great. Just make sure they're always on the edges of your thing, whether it's on the comb or on the knitting itself. Definitely on the edges, and if it gets big, you'll need them on the edges and then in the middle too. But for right now, with little ones, you can just put 2 on either side. So I have the first pass, I did all the way forward, put it in, did the first pass with the yarn. Now I need to push out the ones that I pushed back. So now I need every single one into working position like this. And I'm gonna go over it with my second pass. Now this is actually knit a row now. So it had something to catch on, and now it knits. This is one of my least favorite cast-ons because it pulls this out so much. But all this is one single line basically going through the knitting. It just looks wavy because it's being pulled down by the comb. It's actually just, if I pull on it, see it's like one line that goes through there, right? So it's not a knit row, it's just one line that catches all the knit rows. But now I can just knit. And the next thing, so this is, it's as simple as that. And then one thing you can play around with is your stitch size. So if I have a really small stitch size, don't go down into 0 or your thing will get stuck. But if I have a really small stitch size versus, see how little that is, versus a really big stitch size, I'm gonna go up to 10. That's the problem with the little ones. See how it changes? So it will, that's why I said, how much yarn do you need? Well, what's your stitch size? I would use a ton of yarn to make the same yardage with a 2 than I would with a 10. So it really, there's a lot of factors. It's hard to be like, oh, this is exactly how much yarn you need. That's why it's nice when you can quickly order more if you need it. Anyway, so first try this comb cast on. You push half the needles all the way out, half the needles back, go over it once so that they're lined up, put your yarn in, go over it, then push the ones that you push back into working, then go over it again, and then play around with your stitch size.